Welcome to Lovin The Loveboat, a fond and funny look back on the world's greatest cruise ship-based television show. I'm Istvan, singer, songwriter, and TV fanatic.
And I'm Michelle, pop culture enthusiast.
Join us as we relive episodes of one of the most watched TV series of all time.
Occasionally deviating to pop culture charts unknown.
So come aboard, we're expecting you for another edition of
Lovin The Loveboat.
Greetings, listeners, and Michelle.
Oh, hello, Istvan.
How are you?
I'm dandy. How are you?
I'm doing well because today a newer listener, Katie, the wonderful Katie, has led us to an episode. Guys, if you aren't aware, if you are also new to the show, we were following every single episode from season 1 all the way into season 2, and then we decided to mix it up.
Yeah, there's so many episodes.
Yes. And so we are asking you, the listener, if you have any episodes that you'd like us to cover that we could all watch together, send them in via our Instagram. And Katie did just that.
Yes, thank you, Katie. It was a pretty interesting episode.
Well, she gave us a bunch, and we landed on season 6, episode 5, which is the furthest we have gone into the Love Boat series. This is, right? This is the furthest we've gone?
Definitely.
And if you heard, I can't remember, recently we watched an episode, I was completely bummed out because they had removed the laugh track. Weirdly, this episode that goes deeper into the series had all the classic elements. It felt like an absolutely solid Love Boat episode, and I really enjoyed it. Did you?
I did too. And I was thinking, do you think you were still watching The Love Boat at this point when you were a kid?
This episode made me wonder because this one felt great and I really, really liked it a lot, and it felt completely like comfort food show type of a thing, but I don't know that I would have been still watching. This is what we need to do. We shouldn't even bring this up because...
No, I'm bringing it up because I did some research. Yes,
what was on opposite of it? Oh, God, my goodness. Well, then I can give you an answer if you tell me.
I'm going to tell you right now it was the opposite because I was thinking... Maybe I watched this one, but maybe not, because here what was the opposite. This show aired on October 30th in 1982. First off, maybe you watched it because prior to this was a TJ Hooker episode featuring Bigfoot.
No, I would never, Bigfoot was one of those things, but Bigfoot for me was because of the $6 Million Man.
Yeah, I know, but
that's
weird
earlier.
That TJ Hooker had Bigfoot.
I had never watched one single episode of TJ Hooker. I don't like police things. I don't like hospital things. I don't normally watch those. Okay, what else was on?
Well, on that night, CBS movie was My Bodyguard.
Well, I love that movie.
So do I. So there's a chance I was watching that. And then the TV shows that were on at that time on NBC were... Silver Spoons, Give Me a Break, and Love Sydney. And I know I watched Silver Spoons and Give Me a Break, so...
Yeah, I think we've mentioned this. Those are shows that I really liked. I like Silver Spoons a lot, and I definitely watched that show. So I may have jumped ship to that and maybe started to miss these. But we totally missed out because this was a great episode. Again, thank you, Katie, because this is exactly...
Yes.
What I am looking for. So let's get into it. Let me give you the 3 storylines and a couple of other interesting things. First, we have Hide and Seek, written by Ted Lange and Gene Ford. So I don't know if he had written other ones, but this is Isaac the bartender offering up his storyline, which is really kind of cool.
That is interesting.
Story number 2, Command Performance, written by Roy Batocchio. And finally, we have Sketchy Love, written by Lloyd Turner and Howard Liebling. Now, before I continue, the thing that's interesting is we have had 2 writers that have been like there for so many different episodes, and they have shifted to producer of the show. That would be Art Bear and Ben Jolson. And maybe that's why I really enjoyed this, because these guys knew how the stories worked, but now they were producing the show, and they made the jump from writer to producer, which I just found mildly interesting. Michelle,
yes.
Who is on this episode?
First up, we have Dana Andrews. He played Mr. Paul Gerber.
Yes.
He was a leading actor of the 40s and the 50s, which would explain why he was so old in this episode. Because I don't know about you, but I looked it up, and he was 73 years old.
Very handsome 73-year-old.
Very old dad. And second was Janet Blair, who was another actress of the 50s and 60s. She did a lot of TV later. She was also a little bit older in this episode. She was 61.
Yeah, well, you're going to lead to it. I felt that these guys, they are parents to like the main sort of guest character who I was very excited about being on this episode. And they reminded me of like the grandparents on 16 Candles, like the flashier grandparents.
Yes.
But yeah, these guys are pretty old to be parents. They look more like grandparents to me.
I mean, if you want, I'll get right into it then. They played the parents of Gail, who was played by Kim Richards.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, most of us all know who Kim Richards was when we were growing up. I remember her mostly first from all the Witch Mountain movies.
Yeah, I love those Disney movies, right?
Yes.
Those are Disney-made movies?
And doing a little digging, her name popped up immediately in the news right now currently. But unfortunately, it's not anything good. Apparently, she's struggled with substance abuse on and off in her adult life. She's also in Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. She's also the sister of Kathy Hilton. So she recently, I guess, relapsed. Hopefully, she will get herself together and get herself healthy again.
That's really nice of you to wish nice things on to Kim Richards. I believe that it's because of her tough start in life. If anyone out there can remember the movie Tough Turf.
He's new. He's tough. She's electric. She's taken.
Frankie, what's so unreasonable about knowing me?
We don't fit.
He's fighting everything she's a part of.
And messing around with my property.
She's discovering another way to live. It's the perfect time to fall in love. In the worst possible place. Tough Turf. Rated R.
Starts Friday. Consult your local newspaper for showtimes.
And when you come from those kinds of, gritty sort of like beginnings, substance abuse is going to get you. I loved Tough Turf immensely. It's great. There's a young Robert Downey Jr. in it, pretending to play drums during one point.
Yes.
The Jim Carroll song, there's a lot of great songs on the soundtrack. If anyone has not seen Tough Turf, it is just like one of those great 80s gems that I was obsessed with growing up, that's for sure.
Yeah, it was really great.
But you know what else I watched her on? I enjoyed the show, even though I couldn't tell you one scene. Like, I can remember every Brady Bunch. I can remember every whatever. The show Hello, Larry. Did you ever watch that?
Well, hello, Larry.
I did. She was his daughter, right?
Yeah, one of two daughters, I believe. And I love that show, too.
I did watch that one quite regularly.
Well, we wish Kim Richards, we love Kim Richards. I don't like to hear that anything bad is happening with her.
No, it just was odd that she popped up in the news literally this week. So
yeah, and it's a problematic little scenario we're about to enter, but she was great on this.
Yes, she was. Let me finish up here. Next up, we have Morgan Brittany. She played Nikki Rafferty.
Who?
Morgan Brittany?
Well, who'd she play?
Is it Mickey or Nikki?
Mickey
Rafferty.
She was great.
Yes, and you've seen her. She was in so many things. Mostly Dallas is what I
No.
remember her from. I know you didn't watch Dallas.
I don't recognize her
She was
from
pretty
one damn
popular
thing.
back then. She was really pretty.
She was
and-
awesome. She was beautiful. She had like this weird combination, I thought, of like old starlet with modern day person. She had like this weird, to me, like this perfect balance of those two things. But she was really perky, personable. She was great.
Yeah, still going. They say I don't know if it's still a thing, but in 2009, she was a conservative commentator.
Ugh.
I don't know what that means now, but
Let me change what I said about
I don't know what she does now. I don't
God.
dig into that.
Gotta
I
make
didn't
money
want to.
somehow, man.
Yeah, but that's since
Hey,
2009.
that's where I'm changing the podcast. It's going to be Right Wing Love Boat because then we're going to finally make big bucks. All right, keep going, please.
Next up, we have the lovely Eve Plumb.
Oh, I love her.
Me too. She looks so pretty in this. Her name is Beth Heller.
Nobody blossomed more, I thought, than Eve Plumb, where she was kind of like awkward, like we all were back in the day when we were allowed to, kind of like figure ourselves out. And then she just turned absolutely beautiful, like on the Brady Bunch and forward. She just turned so pretty.
Yep. Next up, we have another beloved TV character, Miss Marian Ross.
Yeah, she's still alive, dude.
She's 96.
She's the best.
And I may have mentioned this before in prior podcasts, but she does hold the most guest appearances on The Love Boat at
right.
14.
I love her.
This may have been her number 4 or 5. Next up, we have Dan Rowan as Matt Heller.
Will this take 4 hours for you now? Do you have like a lot of
I'm
information?
not going to get into laughing. I love laughing.
Okay.
But it's for another podcast.
All right. Thank God.
I will save it.
Ruth Buzzy's not on this one. All right.
There's so many good people on it. Like I said, I won't get into it now. But I did learn it was his last acting performance, this Love Boat episode.
Well, he went out with a bang. He did a great job.
He did do a great job. And last but not least, your favorite, Skip Stevenson.
You guys, this is another thing, man. This show is bringing in so many things from two different eras, 70s and 80s. Skip Stevenson, this was going into the 80s. And this is another thing that I found. He was on Real People, correct?
Correct.
And I loved Real People so much.
Too.
But then you know what else? I was looking for like the theme, and I could not really find the theme of Real People. And then you know what else its sort of counterpart was?
What?
That's Incredible.
Yes.
And that's the other thing. Like, I loved that show, too.
Which one was Sarah Purcell on?
She was on that.
Real People or That's Incredible?
Oh, no. She was on Real People.
think
There
she
was
was,
the other
too.
woman who was on The Loveboat, who now I cannot remember her name. Another blonde woman. And then, like, Fran Tarkington. For some reason, he was on there.
I always kind of hoped somehow, like, me and my friends would be on Real People. I don't know what for, but...
I don't know. Well, I mean, they really predicted, like, where we'd be at with, like, you know, social media and YouTube and everything else. I mean, they were way ahead of the curve.
Yes, they were.
But those shows were super fun to watch because it was well produced and then, you know, it was unlike anything you had seen before.
Absolutely.
All right, well, should we kick it?
Yep.
All right, here we go, you guys. Again, Season 6, Episode 5. First on board, Michelle, because probably they want to hit the early bird dinner of some kind, are the two geriatric parents, the Gerbers.
Yes.
I never got their first names, but I don't think it really matters.
I don't think it does
With their
either.
very lovely young daughter, Gail.
Hello. Hello. Well, we are the Gerbers from Ohio. This is our daughter, Gail.
Welcome aboard.
Hi, nice to meet you.
I'm Captain Sylving, and this is my daughter, Vicky.
Hi.
Hello.
Is this your first cruise? Yeah. I hope there's stuff for kids to do on this ship. Oh, there's lots to do. You'll have a great time. Do you think you could show me around? Well, sure. Come on, I'll give you the grand tour. Can we go? Certainly. Okay.
Well, back to the age stuff, right? She's supposedly like 13 on this episode.
13 3/4, Michelle.
But in real life, I looked at her age, too. She was 18 when she was on this episode. So,
I looked it up, too, because I'm like, please let her be, like, of
so see,
age.
at least she was the legal age to be doing all that stuff with Gopher. But they really younged her up for that episode.
Yeah, you throw a retainer on somebody and put their hair in, like, pigtails or something, and it really
Glasses.
does the trick. Michelle, on a scale of 1 to what the hell's going on, what do you consider Skip Stevenson in the cute department?
1.
Yeah, I don't get it at all. You know what I mean? It's like the things in this time, boy, being a guy, being especially like a Caucasian fella, you really had it made. It's like the most beautiful women throwing themselves at like the goofiest looking guys of all time.
Yeah, because I couldn't stop looking at his hair.
Oh, that weird Lego hair that he has. It's like
That's
just
exactly what it was, Lego hair.
It literally is. Like you just clip it on to the big giant stump on top of his head. And it's like this guy, I liked him. He was enjoyable. He's
He
like one
was.
of those adults that like as a kid you'd be like, oh, I like Skip Stevenson. But
Right.
as far as like being any kind of like leading man or something, I don't really see it. But good old Skip arrives.
Hi, I'm Larry Winter. Listen, my wife wouldn't have gotten here before me by any chance, would you?
No, sir. She hasn't checked in yet, but you and Mrs. Winters will be staying in Promenade 336.
Your brochure described this as being the perfect setting for romance. Start a new one or renew an old one.
And we wouldn't lie about a thing like that.
Well, I guess I'll wait on deck.
And remember, you're here to meet your wife. Better not start a new one.
You know, somebody who I did find attractive, I thought, for an older man is Dan Rowan.
Oh, really, Julie? You found him attractive?
Well, when you're given Skip Stevenson or Dan Rowan.
Yeah, he's a good looking guy.
Yeah. I'm going to go with that.
He is on board to entertain.
Now, this can't possibly be my cabin. I specifically requested a suite.
Man, how are you? It's good to see you again.
Hey, it's great to be back, Gopher. How's the gang?
It's great.
Doc still getting nauseous at the sight of blood?
Only his own.
Always leave him laughing. See you later, Gopher.
You bet. Bye-bye.
This leads into another one of the things that we enjoy is the early bump in. But it's a very special bump in to a very special storyline, and I am very serious about this because I think they handled this except for one major flaw, in my opinion. Eve Plumb, Marian Ross, they are mother and daughter. They arrive, and Doc points out a similarity in their names.
Oh, Mom, I still can't believe we're going on a cruise. This is so fantastic. Oh, I know it, honey. We are going to have such a great time. It couldn't happen to two nicer people.
Hey, welcome aboard.
Well, hello. I'm Mrs. Heller, and this is my daughter, Beth.
I can't buy that. Are you sure you kids aren't running away from home?
Now that's what I call a real welcome. Besides, it's a long run from Colorado. We're on the Aloha deck. Are we getting warm?
Right through there and to the right. Oh, wait a minute, Mrs. Heller. I just realized I have another welcome for you. Come here. Your name is practically in lights. Matt's terrific. You ever seen him perform?
Only when he was a magician. He did a disappearing act. Well, come on, let's get settled. After all these years, he's still ruining things for us.
I found this next guest arrival and character in the beginning a little confusing.
Because you could sense her conservative opinions bubbling
No.
underneath her heavy makeup.
It's just I didn't understand where they were trying to go with her, Mickey.
Hi, I'm Mickey Rafferty. Hello, I'm Julie McCoy, your cruise director. Let's see, you're on the Aloha deck, cabin 236, Miss Rafferty. Okay, listen, if you happen to see any cute single guys on there, just point them out to me, will you? I'm hoping to start a new one. Pardon me? A romance. Don't you read your own brochure? Look, start a new one or renew an old one. My old ones don't stick around long enough to get renewed. The trouble is, I only go for Q&D men.
Is that some kind of rare blood type?
No, it's the rating in Cosmopolitan magazine's love quiz I took last month. What's your dating category? Well, mine's Q&D. Men of quality and distinction. You know, professional types like doctors, lawyers, presidents.
Well, nothing wrong with a girl aiming high.
The trouble is, Q&D guys generally go for Q&D girls, whereas I'm more F&G.
F&G?
Fun and games.
So, like, she was always quoting magazine articles that she read, and she's trying to find Mr. Right.
Yeah.
It was a little confusing to me. You didn't think so?
I mean, I don't know. I didn't read too far into who she was. She's a person, like, being influenced by things. Maybe she was a little bit of a free spirit or something.
Yeah.
Because she's a dancer and she's trying to find her way. The thing that I found confusing about her, as we are going to find out, is that she doesn't have luck in romance.
No, I found that hard to believe.
Yeah, she's so pretty. She's smart. She's self-deprecating.
She seemed nice,
it's
right.
like I didn't understand any. She'd been like this, like, oh my gosh, I've met the greatest person I've ever met before. I had no idea how she was having a difficult time. But then again, men are weird back then, where they had their pick of the litter, so they could do whatever they wanted. So I guess women had it tougher. I do not know. But speaking of men, really, really cute men, we find out that good old Skip Stevenson, he's having marital troubles. And where do you go when you have marital troubles? You gotta go to one of the countless bars on the ship and speak with Isaac.
Here you go, Mr. Winters. And if you don't mind me asking, how come you're not renewing your romance with Mrs. Winters?
She didn't show up, Isaac.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sure she had a good reason.
Dorothy always has good reasons. She's a lawyer. Very successful, but very wrapped up in her career. I told her I'm going to be on that boat, and if you care anything at all about saving our marriage, you'll be there too. Guess I got my answer.
Michelle, the things about Mickey that I did not understand, they they showed that she had some sort of like artistic ability.
Right.
And because they pointed this out, I thought it was going to have something to do with like what was going to happen in her storyline.
I did too.
But it totally did not.
No, it made no sense.
It seemed really like a weird thing to like feature. But yeah, she's just sitting at a table sketching.
A picture of Skip Stevens.
Yeah, she's just drawing him, like sitting there all sad. And he sees this, and it's just their first encounter with one another.
Hey, that's mine. It's, not a very good likeness, is it?
Tell me, do I look as lost as all that?
Yeah, but you're cuter. My name's Mickey Rafferty. That's Mickey spelled M-I-K-K-I.
Very original. Larry Winters. Oh. You an artist?
No, I'm a dancer. Featured weekly on the unemployment line. What do? You a doctor or something?
How about a corporation lawyer? Is that something?
Yeah, it sure is. You wouldn't happen to be alone, would you?
No.
Figures.
How could I be alone if I'm with you?
Michelle, first time ever, maybe double bumping in a way, because the mother-daughter team sort of had a bump in as far as like they just saw the poster that revealed that this father, long lost father, is on board. And all of a sudden, that long-lost father, strolling along, bumps into Marian Ross.
Hello, Matt.
I can't believe it. You look absolutely beautiful.
Let's not get carried away. Absolutely older, yes, but absolutely beautiful.
I mean it. You just look great.
Matt.
Yeah?
This is Beth.
Oh, now I know none of this is happening. You're all grown up. Oh, Beth.
Excuse me, Mother. My stomach is acting up a bit. I'll see you back in the cabin.
After almost 20 years, that's the best she can do?
Well, she's very excited about this trip. She gets a little bit high-strung sometimes. That's her nature.
Her nature? And being rude is part of her nature, too?
Give her some time. This has been quite a surprise for both of us.
Now, we already see here, this is where they did a great job with this, I thought. You're seeing that there's conflict. You're seeing that something happened, that he did something wrong.
Yes.
Because Eve Plumb is completely upset. She wants nothing to do with him, and she begs off, I think is the term, and leaves. And he's stunned and upset, very upset, as you would imagine. He hasn't seen these people for over 20-something years, right?
Absolutely. They said over 20 years.
Oh, my gosh.
And it sets up confusion because you're like, what? So many scenarios are running through my head. Like, what could it be?
They did a great job with this,
I
where
thought so.
you're really racking your brain to try and figure out what's happening. They don't reveal this very quickly at all. This was, I thought, very impressive. I thought they did a great job with this storyline. Now, Michelle, as far as people that maybe a younger female would have a crush on, I think Fred Grandy back in the day would have been acceptable.
I think so, too. And I think people we've talked to about The Love Boat since doing this podcast have expressed such a thing.
Oh, did they really? I don't recall that. Yeah, because he's just a cute guy, but he's also sort of like lovable.
Mm-hmm.
So this would have been somebody that like a younger person, i.e. Kim Richards, would maybe have her first real crush on.
Absolutely.
So she's asking Julie about who's that, and they meet one another, and she gets a very devious idea.
Hey, Go.
Yeah?
You want to meet my new friend?
Sure.
Hi, I'm Gail Gruber.
Hi, Gail.
You want to play a game of shuffleboard?
Oh, no thanks. No, you kids go ahead and play. I'm looking for a dinner date for tonight.
I don't have any dinner plans. Well, aren't you eating with your parents? Who? Oh, them. I'm sure they wouldn't mind if I had dinner with someone else. Well, great. Then you can have dinner with me and sit at the captain's table.
Excuse me.
I don't know what he sees in her. Well, Gopher goes for that glamorous, sophisticated type. Oh. Really? Yeah. Until 3:30. Then he goes for anything.
Actually, she was speaking with Vicky.
What did I say?
You said Julie.
Oh, my gosh.
And Julie would be the normal one, but since they're teenagers,
yeah,
they
she
became
gravitates
fast
towards Vicky.
friends and
that was
they're
really
hanging
fun.
out together.
That was really cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
I meant to say Vicky. I'm as old as the other guy.
As old as the dad.
73. So my memory's not what it used to be.
Istvan.
Yes.
Did you do a lot of like fake you're sleeping when you were a kid and then sneak out at some point?
Once, and I got in big trouble.
Well,
but I did not have a present wrapped up with a red slinky dress in it when I did that, which Kim Richards did on this ship, which I didn't quite understand.
She obviously went to the gift shop and bought herself a dress.
Oh, is that what it was?
Of course.
Oh, well, where's she getting all... Oh, what? I don't want to get into Michelle Mike territory. Where'd she get the money for a dress or any of that stuff?
You charge it to the room.
Oh, geez. Okay. Well, this is what the crafty Kim Richards did. They're all preparing for dinner right now. And she pretends to be... No, yeah, she was saying she was tired.
Right, and she wanted to get some sleep from a long day.
Right, but instead, she gets all dolled up, all glamorous. She takes that retainer out, and she heads to the dining room. And not surprisingly, Gopher takes notice.
Good evening. Where have you been hiding?
Could I have a table for one, please?
For one? You'll never believe this, but it appears I, too, am without a dinner companion for this evening. Would you care to join me?
Oh, aren't you sweet? That would be divine.
Not at all. This way.
Fine. Actually, I'd like something a little more intimate.
Intimate.
More romantic?
I think I see just the spot right over there.
Perfect, darling. You don't mind if I call you darling, do you?
No, I don't. I don't mind that at all. Darling is one of my favorite names. And yours is?
Lillian.
Lillian.
Lillian Gerber.
Gerber. Gerber. Now, why do I know that?
Well, you probably met my kid sister, Gail. That little brat is always getting into someone's hair.
Vicky's favorite.
Yes.
I should have noticed by the family resemblance.
Oh, really? I don't think we look alike at all.
A couple of things I've noticed during this dinner portion of the episode. I don't know if you did it all. Cherry's Jubilee.
Oh, I did. I didn't know what it was. I was going to ask you. It looked awesome.
Yes, I knew it was.
What is Cherry's Jubilee? I don't even know.
It's like a flaming cherries dessert. I think
dessert?
You put it over, like, if I recall correctly, ice cream or something like that.
Sounds amazing.
Just eat it alone. And then also, did you notice our guy was back?
No.
Johnny Disco.
No.
What?
I did not.
He was the waiter when Marian Ross and Eve Plumb came to their table, and he pulled out the chair.
Oh, my God. I did not see that at all.
Yes, he was back.
Tell the people. Maybe they don't know who Johnny Disco is.
There's this character.
He was always in episodes, almost every single one, this sort of suave, weird, he looks like a spy or something like that. And we've decided his name was Johnny Disco. And, oh, my God. See, this episode is great. Thank you, Katie. I did not see him. I'm going to go back and look for Johnny Disco.
Yeah, we'll have to get the picture to show everybody. But he's this background character actor that we just took notice of throughout the episodes we've been doing. And we hadn't seen him for the last few we were doing. And then all of a sudden, I don't know when he came back, but in 1982, he was back.
Oh, that's so great. No, I did not notice that. That's an awesome observation. Michelle, the thing about the what's his name, Rowan and Marian Ross and Eve Plumb, the thing I liked is it stayed the lightheartedness, in my opinion, that I like in The Loveboat, but it was pretty heavy. At dinner, he's obviously at the captain's table. He's a performer and he's a very charismatic guy. So they're having a great time. And then he notices them sitting at a table together. He excuses himself and he wants to go sit and say hello, give it a second try. But Eve is still not having it.
Word of the trout. So fresh you have to slap it.
Hyde.
Hi.
When I heard all the laughter, I should have known that you would be close by.
Feeling any better, Beth?
You must know somebody to be sitting at the captain's table.
What's bothering you, Beth?
Well, she's just...
She's just what? Come on, Beth, what is it?
Why don't you just go away? Leaving people was always your style. I'm sorry, Mom.
So the thing about this, Michelle, is they really are establishing this. Again, they're not giving anything away. Based on the way that they're unraveling this storyline, I started to think, oh, he must have done something truly horrible.
Yeah,
and
we can
obviously
talk about that.
Obviously he left, and well, I don't really have much more to add right now. It's just the way that they're kind of alluding to this really made. Here's the thing. I disliked him because I thought he was a heel.
Those are good points, but I guess because they didn't make his character like this, like Lothario, so I thought there's something going on there that we don't know. Obviously.
That's why it's a good storyline, because I saw it completely differently, that he was just not a good person, but somebody can show the greatest of charm to outside people, but when it comes to his own life, his own family, it's a very different story. So that's why this was a cool storyline. Guys, you may have missed Johnny Disco like I did, but I never miss the times we spend on Love Bow. Love Bow, again, is usually part of the ship, looking out onto the ocean. It's normally at nighttime.
Yep. And
it's when serious things are kind of addressed. And they use Love Bow maybe more times than any other time on this episode.
It was used quite a lot.
Hey, why not? If you've got it, use it. And Mr. Rowan, Mr. Heller on the show, he sees his ex-wife, and they have it out in kind of an amazing way. This is like a semi-reveal during this moment. And now my feelings for him started to change, but I still do not know why.
Jenny? What is it about me that makes Beth hate me so much?
Oh, it's just The chemistry. Matt, it can be that way between some people.
No, Jenny. We're not test tubes or experiments. We're just people. There's got to be more to it than that. Does Beth know? I mean, does she know everything? Don't tell me you've never told her. Oh, my God, Jenny. Why?
I don't know. I was always waiting for her to be older, and then when she was older, we had become so close. I didn't want to risk losing Matt.
You know we're going to have to tell her.
No, Matt. After the cruise, Beth and I'll go back home, and that will be the end of it.
The end of it? Well, what about me? I'm supposed to just go through life knowing that Beth hates me? I don't think I can handle that.
Promise me. Matt, please, promise me that you won't tell her.
Sean, how about those pineapple drinks Gopher brought for him and his date?
They looked delicious and ridiculous at the same time. But as you know, that's a perfect combo for me. They looked awesome.
They did. I really wish we had two while we were watching this episode.
It would have been great. Some sort of love potion drink that Gopher brings for his new lady love. But then I think she sees her parents and then they have to cut out. She's like, can we go out onto the deck for like some fresh air and moonlight or whatever? But he's still doing well. He's still feeling good about all this. But then, you know, it's almost like a Cinderella moment. She realizes she's got to cut out. And afterwards, like so many guys would do, he is bragging about the progress he made with this young woman.
Hey, Golf. Hey, Gopher. Hey, Golf, what happened to your date?
Well, what didn't happen? Incredible night.
What's happening?
Oh, no.
Details.
Wait a minute. I am not the kind of gentleman that kisses and tells.
Kissing with the old lip lock on her, huh?
Hey, W. What else? Guys, please, I am a doer, not a talker. And besides, it's not fair to the lady. And what a lady that Lillian is, man.
Oh, come on, Gopher. Can't you tell us anything?
Well, there's nothing to tell. I walked her back to the cabin. I said goodnight, that's all. And I stayed for a nightcap or two.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hey, Gopher. What's the matter with Lillian? I just started running back to her cabin a few minutes ago. Is anything wrong?
I thought you said you walked her back to her cabin.
Well, we weren't walking, we were running. Couldn't wait to get me back there.
Gopher, I didn't see you with her.
Well, I was running so fast you probably couldn't see me.
You, struck out, didn't you, Gopher?
Doc. What am I doing?
Don't you think in Gopher's experience with dating women on the ship, he would have realized she was way young for him? Because she still looks young.
You know what? I don't know. I got to be honest, because I am so bad at guessing people's ages, like old, young, whatever. I really, honestly, I'm so bad at. I make jokes for like I could never work in a carnival because I can't guess anybody's age. So I don't know. And when someone says "darling" to you,
I guess that makes her seem
gonna...
older. She probably picked that up from her elderly parents.
Yeah, I have no idea. No, I don't know. Probably.
It was a little bit of a stretch is all I'm saying. It wasn't completely unbelievable, I guess, but it was a little bit of a stretch. Were you a little disappointed like I was that we didn't get to hear Eve Plumb's letter that she wrote to her father read in a reverb voice?
Oh, absolutely. It's one of my favorite things. Yes, we were denied. But it made sense, as we will find out very, very soon. But during this part, Mr. Heller realizes the gravity of what he is up against. So what do you do? I mean, what do you do when something is that major in your life? You go to the captain.
I was just going to say, you enlist the captain.
When he's in the cool control room. I love the control room on the boat.
When he's in action. He looks a little thinner in these 80s episodes, too.
Maybe.
Like, he's, like, fit.
Oh, yeah, I didn't notice that.
Mm-hmm.
Man, you're picking it all out in this episode.
I love the captain.
Because, yeah, he's on the bridge. He's navigating. And so Mr. Heller goes in and asks the captain for his help.
Captain? Matt, come in. Thank you.
Merrill, I need a big favor.
No, you can't have the ship tonight. I'm using it.
For once, I'm serious. Very serious.
Huh?
Well, I have two friends that I must get to the show tonight. It's very important to me.
I don't understand, Matt. Anyone can come to the show.
I don't think they'd come. Unless perhaps you were to personally invite them as your guests.
Are you talking about the two women in the dining room the other night?
Yeah. Let's just say it's a family matter.
That's good enough for me. Don't worry, Matt. I'll have them there. I promise you.
Thanks, Merrill. I really owe you on this one.
The only thing you owe me is a good show tonight.
Could be the best one of my life. Or the worst.
Michelle, you know what I think we're failing to say is this Kim Richards, she basically is tricking everyone, saying that she has an older sister that's on the ship.
Mm-hmm.
This is how she's getting away with it because she said her last name, and which didn't make any sense. If Gopher had the presence of mind to know that, Gerber is their last name, that he would know then that there were 4 people, not 3 people, as part of that party,
Right, because they check the people in, or you could
Yeah.
go look at the list of
so
passengers.
she said Lillian. I'm Lillian, or that's her sister. Her older sister is Lillian, and she was Gail. And then during this part, she was just saying the things to Gopher that Lillian liked him, and then was giving him a little list of things that she liked that Gopher was taking very astute notes about.
So what happened last night? Well, what do you mean? Well, first you didn't come to dinner, and then your sister told me you were sleeping. Well, I was. But I went to your cabin and knocked and knocked. You never answered. Oh, well, I slept in Mommy and Daddy's cabin last night. I get afraid of the dark sometimes. Boy, you are a baby.
Hi, kids.
Oh, hi. Hi.
Where's your sister?
Oh, she never gets up till dark. She says the sun's bad for her skin.
I can't argue with the results.
Besides, she was out late last night. She said she met Mr. Wonderful and fell in love. She wouldn't tell me who he was.
Hear that? Mr. Wonderful?
Heard.
So, Gail, what kind of stuff does your sister like?
Oh, the usual things. The fashion magazines, comic books, expensive perfume, bubble gum. As a matter of fact, if I give her bubble gum, I can get her to do anything I want.
Well, if you guys will excuse me, I think I hear Bazooka Joe calling.
Even though we didn't get the letter read, the thing that we did get, which we like ship-to-shore phone calls.
Yes, we do.
And I love a good cablegram. And Skip Stevenson gets a cablegram. Because the other thing that we failed to say is that he's like falling for this girl, and she's falling for him, but he's married.
Yeah, but if you recall in the beginning, he did say that his wife was supposed to meet him on this ship to save their marriage, and she didn't show up.
Yeah, I guess that's true. That was sort of like the final thing, and the fact that she didn't arrive would basically be sealing the fate of it. But
it wasn't the final thing.
Yeah, because they got a cablegram, or he got a cablegram, right?
Mr. Winters? Oh, Mr. Winters, I'm glad I caught you. This cablegram just came through.
Oh, thank you very much.
Sure. Hey down there, turn around. Look, Cosmopolitan magazine says, when using a staircase, descend it slowly like a vision of loveliness. How am I doing?
You are exactly that.
Okay, just one thing. Tell me when I reach the bottom.
I don't know what's a good way to tell you this, Mickey.
Uh-oh, when it starts like that, there is no good way. Okay, give it to me straight.
I'm not going to be able to go into town with you. I'm taking a cab directly to the airport.
Why? What happened?
You see, I'm married.
That's straight. Right between the eyeballs.
I owe you an explanation.
Oh, hey, you don't owe me anything. Don't worry about it. Look, I took this cruise looking for a shipboard romance, and I found one. So it didn't exactly last the whole trip.
Things haven't been working well for my wife and me, Mickey, but the fact that she's flying to Acapulco must mean she's had a change of heart. I've got 5 years of my life invested in this marriage.
So then go protect your investment. Hey, look, this kid got herself all gorgeous up, and nothing's gonna stop her from doing up the town.
I'm really sorry, Mickey.
Oh, forget it. Hey, Acapulco, here I come.
The other thing that I loved about the cablegram scene, that she was wearing some sort of Peter Pan dress. Did you notice her dress?
I didn't.
Oh my God. It looks like she was from, where'd Peter Pan come from? Neverland? Where's he from? Well, that's what it looked like she was wearing. It was insane.
Oh, this is where they were going to go to Acapulco together.
Yeah. Because the cablegram is like, the wife, I think, was apologizing and say, like, meet me in St. Louis or whatever she was saying.
Acapulco Airport.
Yeah, and he was going to take off. Imagine how hard that is to, like, let Skip Stevenson slip through your fingers. I mean, imagine the hurt. The disappointment.
Positive.
Oh my God. That's the thing. She had a great attitude. She was fun. She was kind of, like I said, self-deprecating. She was lovely. Oh man. I don't know. That was just, that was hard to believe.
We do eventually get a letter read, though, in this episode.
Oh yeah. Love letter.
Gopher leaves a package outside of Gail's door. Well,
Like
Lillian's
7
door.
tons of gum.
And a letter. But who happens to be walking by but her parents?
What is all that stuff in front of Gail's cabin?
Paul, look at this.
You're the sweetest and sexiest girl on the ship. So you'll think of me till we're together again, love. Gopher!
Paul, what are we going to do?
You mean before or after I kill that pervert?
Michelle, at this point, do we know how old she actually is?
I don't think we do.
Because if we did, we'd be flipping out because it's like it's coming up, you guys, the reveal of her actual age. Gopher, who now has been pegged as a pedophile, is assuming she's like in her 20s, I would imagine, like at least 20 years old or something.
I'm sure that's what he was thinking.
But, oh my God, if I was the dad, if I was the elderly dad, I would be out of my mind.
He was ready.
I would be running around the ship looking for Gopher to murder him. But instead, you know, like everybody, they enlist the captain to like find him or seek him out, or the captain finds out what's going on and he's trying to locate Gopher maybe before he gets murdered.
Yeah, I believe they go to the captain to show him this letter that one of his crew members wrote.
Excuse me, have either of you seen Gopher anywhere?
No, but if I were a betting man, I'd lay it 2 to 1 he's with the Gerber girl again.
And it's true.
What is?
That he's been dating young Gail Gerber. I just left her parents. They're ready to kill him.
You mean Lillian Gerber, don't you?
Lillian? Who's Lillian?
Well, that's Gail's older sister. Gopher has been dating her.
Oh, so that explains it. This letter was intended for Lillian. Her parents think it was for Gail. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Vicky.
Doc, do you think that... Never mind, it's silly.
Now, what's silly?
Well, you know, a lot of kids my age today are modeling. And with a lot of makeup and a new, different, more sophisticated hairstyle, 15-year-olds or even younger can turn out to look 22.
You don't think...
Well, have you ever seen Gail and Lillian in the same place at the same time?
No. Come on. Let's see if there's a Lillian Gerber on the passenger list. If there isn't, we better find Gopher and tell him.
Right, before he's on the man overboard list.
Who knew Vicky had such a super sleuth in her?
Well, thank God, because she was fooled this entire time like everybody else was, and you think that she'd be the one to know since she was hanging around with Gail the entire time, because the captain is under the impression that there is an older sister.
And he's relieved.
Yes, that is, his purser is not a creep. And he goes running off to share the good news with the parents. But that's why this was a great storyline, though, because there was a lot of misdirection in kind of a interesting way. It still was funny, even though you're dealing with an underage person.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So he goes running off and sees the parents, and they inform him that they only have the one daughter. And this is where Gail's plan is foiled.
Congratulations, Lillian. This is your night. My night? Sure, everybody knows what happens on a second date with Gopher Smith.
What happens?
What do you think? I mean, scented candles in his cabin, red light bulbs and all the lamps. Oh, I bet he's got those champagne cocktails already made. You sure are lucky. This will be a night you'll never forget.
Gail, I think you and I better have a little talk
Don't
right
you come
now.
near me.
No.
I'm only 14 years old, Gopher Smith, and if you touch me, I'm going to tell my mommy and daddy. And really, I'm not even 14 yet. I'm 13 3/4. Wait a minute. You called me Gail. You know?
Oh, there they are, Captain.
Daddy!
Oh, darling. Yeah, what are you doing all dressed up like that?
Just look at your hair and all that makeup.
I suppose this is your idea.
No, Daddy. It's not his fault. I was just dressing up like a grown-up to have some fun.
Mr. Gerber, I had no idea.
Young lady, I mean little girl, I think it's time we had a nice long talk.
Well, it was just pretend.
Fine. When we get to the cabin, I'm going to give you a pretend spanking.
She ended up being a lot younger than I thought she was going to be.
Yeah, this was a bombshell. Yeah. When you find out that she's not even 14 years old yet, that was startling.
Yeah, I was thinking at least she would have been maybe like 15.
Let's move past it, please.
Yes.
Because it is shocking. And boy, well, at least they did it right because Gopher's face looked pretty grim when he found out what was going on.
He did.
It wasn't funny. It wasn't anything to him. They weren't making light of this at all.
No, they weren't at all.
It was strange. And it was kind of like, it was a good, kind of tricky little storyline. The girl did a great job, kind of misleading everybody. When she did that transformation, though, it was kind of weird. And then also when the dad threatened to spank her.
Yeah,
I thought
that was weird, too. First, she's too young, and now she's, to me, too old
to be spanked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was weird. Did you see your candle made an appearance again?
That I saw. I was so thrilled. Guys, I am going to post a picture that probably only I will care about. I wish I could like my own posts many, many times. It is a picture of Isaac. It's a picture of sad Skip Stevenson. It's a picture of our friend, the special groovy candle holder in the Pirates Cove, one of our favorite places, and a trippy psychedelic porthole. Did you see that?
I did. Someday I want to have enough resources to make the Pirates Cove
It's a perfect opportunity to remind everyone that if you go into the links in our Instagram bio, you will find the special Venmo tip jar. So by all means, leave a little something for your crew so we can continue the show and get ourselves a psychedelic portal. And we will invite everyone to the christening of our Pirates Cove basement bar. You are all cordially invited.
Someday.
Yeah. Oh, but while they're in the Pirates Cove, we were tripping out on a candle holder so much because we're
obsessed.
Weird. That this is where Skip Stevenson, he got dumped again, by his wife. He was completely bummed. That's where you go to drown your sorrows.
Absolutely.
But it shows that Skip Stevenson's a good guy because he realizes what this other woman has been through and he feels terrible about being yet another guy that has disappointed her.
How'd it go this afternoon, Mr. Winters? I got ditched again, Isaac. You seem to be on a streak. Well, at least this time it wasn't your wife.
Yes, it was. Turns out she had to fly to Acapulco on business. So she asked me to meet her at the airport so we could have a talk about getting a divorce.
Ouch, that hurts.
Guess she figured she'd mix business with pleasure.
Have you told Mickey?
Can't face her.
You're right. If you never see her again for the rest of your life, at least you won't be embarrassed.
You don't understand. The reason that lady's so hard on herself is because she's been hurt by a lot of people. Right now, my name's probably at the top of the list. She must think I'm a real creep. You know something? I think I agree with her.
Maybe being too hard on yourselves is something you two have in common. I'll get you a double martini.
Guys, I am conflicted right now because I don't know how to handle this. It's one of the most impactful things that's ever happened on any episode. It's also one of the longest, and I don't know that I want to really play the entire clip. Because the reason Mr. Heller wanted the captain to get these, his former wife and daughter, to go to his show, knowing full well that they probably wouldn't attend, is because he concocted some crazy scheme to do maybe one of the most massive reveals I think we've ever had on the show, correct? No?
Yeah, it was a very complicated reveal, too.
So should we do it ourselves, or should we let him do it? It's really intense. Maybe I'll give you a little bit.
Just a snippet.
When your mother first told me she was pregnant, I asked her to marry me. I knew she didn't love me. Not the way I loved her, but it didn't matter to me. mattered even less that I wasn't the father. So we married. When you were born, I felt as if all the joy and happiness in the world had suddenly poured into my heart. I became such a bore with my pictures and stories of my little girl. And one day your mother came to me and we talked. We talked a long time. I never wanted to leave you and your mother. It was her idea. I don't remember all the reasons she gave, but in a few days I left. You were asleep the night I went away, so I never really got a chance to say goodbye. That's why I'm here now.
I don't want to leave you again. Not without saying goodbye.
So goodbye, my love. I love you now, even more than I loved you then.
First off, if I'm the people in the Acapulco Lounge, I'm disappointed because I didn't get a comedy
I would want my
routine.
money back. I would want free drinks for the remainder of the cruise. I don't know. I'd want a bigger room, something like that, because good Lord, this guy's airing the most personal information
Right.
in a sketch or whatever you'd call that, his dialogue, his monologue. Oh my Lord. And then it's like to have poor Eve Plumb have to live this out in front of an entire audience of people was crazy.
Like that poor woman sit up there.
And this is also, not only was it an insane choice, because I really did like the storyline a lot, but the thing is, this is the one major like flaw of this whole thing where, you know, Eve Plumb is obviously upset with this person that she thinks abandoned her when she was a little girl. He's gone. Turns out this guy's like the most awesome guy on the planet,
Yes.
basically. And then we got to rock Love Bow one more time, you guys.
Another major reveal.
Yes, because it's like, I still don't understand exactly what happened, you know, of why she did this. This didn't help me. It didn't clarify things for me, but it definitely did for Eve Plumb.
I got a little bit of a handle of it.
Well, let's all, hey, we're still in our dinner clothing, you know, grab yourself a pineapple drink or something like that. And let's all head out to Love Bow and see how Marian Ross lays on her daughter why she did what she did.
Beth, darling.
Why, Mother? Why?
I didn't want you to know that I wasn't married when you were conceived. And your real father was a man you never met. A man I hardly knew myself. I didn't want you to think that I was a lesser person.
Oh, I could never think of you like that. To me, you'll always be beautiful, inside and out.
It just seemed the right thing to do at the time. I've been so foolish.
I've been the foolish one. I've been so cruel to Matt. Did he really love me as much as he said?
Yes, to him, you were his daughter. I've never known anyone with the capacity to love like that. I think that's what frightened me. He loved so completely.
I guess we've both been foolish.
Beth,
Daddy?
Jen, she called me Daddy.
So I don't know. I have no idea what's going on. Like, again, the thing that happened is this guy, he was not really the father of Eve Plumb.
Nope.
They got married, but then, okay, you explain to me why, because he was down with this. Marian Ross, in my opinion, had the golden ticket, because if you had some dude that like knocked you up at some point and then flew the coop, And then it's back in a time where it's like scandalous that you're like a single mother. You had this other man that wasn't like, that's not my child, I'm not going to marry you. He was down with the whole thing. He liked the kid. He treated her like his own child, and he was willing to marry her. And she's like, leave. I didn't get that. What happened?
I don't think she was in love with him at that time. And
oh my God, that's ridiculous.
It was like you said, it was like a matter of convenience. So she wasn't an unwed mother.
Ugh.
And then maybe in time she just realized she never really loved him. That's the way I took it. If I'm wrong, people comment on our Instagram.
No, that's a plausible explanation because I couldn't think of any other reason why she would have asked him to leave. You know, it didn't make any sense to me. And the other thing that made no sense is if Eve Plumb was holding some sort of 20-year grudge against this man, she really let Marian Ross off the hook really fast.
I thought so too. She was like, but you're still beautiful, Mom, and I love you. And I'm like, what?
That was a cheap out, man, because it's like her mother basically denied her a father for all the best years of her life. And
I thought the same thing.
I would be pissed. Guys, like when you're taking a picture at prom, they had to shuffle these guys out of Love Bow because somebody else needed to use it real quick before the show came to an end. And that would be Larry, a.k.a. Skip Stevenson, and Mickey, a.k.a. whatever that woman's name is, because they need to fall in love, right?
Larry?
What?
She dumped you, huh?
Isaac told you.
He didn't have to. 2 months ago, Cosmopolitan magazine ran a quiz called How to Know When You've Been Dumped. I passed with flying colors. Believe me, I'm an expert on the subject. It hurts, doesn't it?
That it does.
I know. But you'll get over it. I do. And then you'll go on the search for what Cosmopolitan calls the MR. That's a meaningful relationship.
They're tough to find.
You know why? Because meaningful relationships take time. And time's something that nobody has very much of these days.
Right now, you're looking at a man with all the time in the world.
Guys, I'm exhausted personally. I don't know about you.
There's a lot of thought going into this episode for sure.
A lot of gymnastics happening mentally, and but I loved it. I really thought this was a great episode because it was super solid and had that same feeling to it. Kim Richards was awesome.
Yes.
She's so fun to watch. She really was just somebody, I don't know, I could see why she was in so many things back then because she just was so likable. But everybody was. Like when I saw that Skip Stevenson was going to be on this, that Rowan dude, I like him. Marian Ross, you can never go wrong.
Correct.
The entire cast was fantastic. And they really did some serious work with these storylines that I did not know was about to happen.
I thought so too. They tackled some heavy topics and made not like light in a bad way, but made them like entertaining and fun to watch and wrapped them up really good. Because quickly, I would like to say that Skip Stevenson and Mickey did not say they were going to get married immediately after they got together, which I appreciated. They were going to take their time.
Well, he's got to get divorced first, I think.
Yeah, he does. He's a lawyer, and she's a lawyer.
A corporation lawyer. That's what he said. I am a corporation lawyer.
So they're going to get that passed through really quickly.
But yeah, we really like this. So a big thanks to Katie for her suggestions. Guys, she already hit me up with another one. Mind you, she had another one where I think Kim Richards, forget it. There's another episode that Katie suggested that I'm like, you have just chosen the follow-up episode to this one.
Fantastic. I can't wait.
Oh, my gosh. But again, if you guys have any episodes that you like, please, by all means, via our Instagram, hit us up with a direct message, and we will do our best to do it. Although I did, word of warning, one of Katie's suggestions had something to do with illness, and I told her there's no way I'm going back down an illness path. So if there's illness in yours, the likelihood of it being chosen by me at least is slim to none.
He wants to be uplifted by the episodes
I want to
with
feel
a happy
good.
ending.
I want to be whistling a happy tune. I want to be Skip Stevenson down the lane after the episode. Good. All right, so wait, we haven't said goodbye to anybody yet, though, because speaking of Skip, him and Mickey, very, very happy, are on their way home.
Ah, Mr. Winters, what a difference the day made.
Yeah, right, Isaac. Only in this case, it was a night.
What would your magazines say about him? Q&D, quality and distinction? I don't care what they say. I think he's CNC, cute and cuddly.
See you later.
Long
Just like that, the Hellers are one big happy family.
Yeah, is he going to relocate to Colorado? Is that where they were from?
I
Colorado?
do believe he said some things like that, and they're all holding hands and walking off the ship.
Oh, man, they're going to have a killer Thanksgiving and Christmas this year. It's going to be so great for them. And then I think like Eve Plumb will drink too much and then lay into her mother actually with some latent anger.
Let's hope so. I mean, maybe they kept it short and sweet. So like, as you had said earlier, love bow could be used again. You don't want to get into a big argument up there.
Yeah, but the new family, they're on their way back to Colorado.
Oh, there was some performance last night, Matt.
Oh, well, thanks, Doc. And thank you, Captain, for supplying just the right audience.
Beth and I should be doing the thanking, Captain.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm just glad the show turned out so well. For all of you.
We liked the show so much, we decided to take the star home with us for good.
Now, that's a curtain line if I ever heard one.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Don't think Gail quite learned her lesson about going after older men.
No, she seems like, she's pretending as if like this, is not something that's going to happen again. But as they leave, she gives a sly little wink, like we said, to Gopher, and he kind of sums it up perfectly.
Well, Captain, I've had a long talk with Gail, and she won't be pulling any stunts like that anymore. I'm sorry if I caused you any trouble.
No problem.
And Vicky, thanks so much for being such a good friend to Gail.
No problem.
And go for a...
No problem.
Come on, dear. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Now that's a problem.
Guys, thanks again for listening. Again, this was season 6, episode 5, I believe. And again, this is kind of cool because this totally just scratched my Love Boat itch, where it was a total classic episode. I thought going this far into the show that it was going to be something that we did not necessarily like, but I loved it.
Mm-hmm. I did too.
Yeah, and again, check out our links. Go to our Instagram. Make sure that you're following us on Instagram. Check out the Venmo tip jar, you guys,
Yes.
because that would give us every indication that we should continue this show into the new year.
That would be great.
Yes. But until the next time we see you, I am Istvan.
I'm Michelle.
Captain Stubing, please come to the bridge.
And we are
Lovin' the Loveboat.